Elizabeth Akorita, I'm a Deputy Director for Digital Delivery. I work in Central Gov across actually more than one government department. So my main focus is on the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology, as most kind of relevant to today, but I also support the Energy Department and the Business Department. Our team supports 15,000 people. I'd say the thing that I'm proudest of is coming into what was the Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy at the time, which did have a digital team, but it was tiny, it was fledgling. We had approved headcount but no people. So I came in to set up our first ever delivery team, our first ever user-centered design team. I had a completely blank slate, carte blanche to do whatever I wanted. And I was able to stand up a team of multiple dozens of people very, very quickly. The timing of that was fortuitous. It was a bit of a kind of double win because I joined in November 2019. So I had about 4 months to set things up before COVID hit. And we were one of the main departments that was responsible for that COVID response. So the team that I had built of civil servants were able to build emergency responses to the COVID pandemic. So we were paying career civil servants instead of spending money on quite a lot of money on contractors and kind of doing that whole thing. So that was one of my biggest achievements. It's been an interesting journey because I'm not a career technologist. I actually started out in marketing communications, got my master's in marketing, was a science communicator for over 10 years, worked at Barnardo's, Macmillan, Natural History Museum, talking to people about very technical things in print and digital and verbally for years and years and years, and never thought that I would work in tech. So it's been a bit of a varied journey. I have followed what my heart has said, followed what my interests are. So for example, when I worked at Macmillan, I did find at a certain point I was more interested in the technology that I was using to publish and the website redevelopment project than some of my day job, don't tell, my day job. I found it really interesting. So I would stick my hand in the air and volunteer for extra work so long as it was technical so I could gain new skills. And there was a pretty short runway, about 18 months between that and taking my first fairly senior head of tech job in government. I will say one of the things that I had hoped when I'd gone into Gov and had gone into kind of a mid-level role, I had hoped to progress, is because there's quite a lack of representation. And I thought that if not, why not me? I could be that person that could kind of progress into that role. And it took 18 months, 2 years, but I was able to do it. I will say in our organisation, we are not 0.7%. We're closer to between 6 to 10%. So we're very, very proud of that figure. We do look very hard at our talent pipeline and where we're getting people from. We take people from all kinds of backgrounds, not just technology backgrounds. If people have a willingness and propensity to learn, that's a more important thing. And we find that if we diversify the talent pipeline and we support people through their career, because then you don't have the particular issue where you get 0.7% is people drop off at a certain level of seniority. So we do try to support people all the way through their career. It's almost a case of what you don't do, so not to put the negative spin on it, but we do think about the traditional process and how it's actually quite exclusive. So for example, I look after recruiting, which is one of the many, many things I look after, and all of the kind of ads kind of go across my desk. I say, do we really need to require a degree? That's not really necessary. Do we really need these certifications? Are we being as clear as we can about the interview process? So if someone has caring responsibilities, they can kind of flex. Are we being clear about if someone is on Zoom? Are we providing them guidance? Not everyone is confident with that technology. And we're also looking at the language in the adverts because people don't realise how it's kind of very clearly telegraphed what kind of person you want in a role. So we look very closely at the language to make sure it's not coded or gendered or exclusionary. And we have diversity statements saying, for example, we know that women, for example, will not apply to an ad unless they meet 100% of the criteria. So we have a diversity statement that says it's actually really incredibly unusual and we're not expecting to hire someone who has 100% of the qualifications. That's not actually what we want. We want someone who wants to be part of the team, who's excited about the work, who wants to deliver. And if that's you, if you meet some of the qualifications, just go for it. And that's now in every ad.